NRL Fantasy buy, hold, sell round 23. It is the start of the head-to-head finals, and it is the end of my season with all these bloody injuries. Biz, mate, how you doing?
Good. I just spent the pre-recording trying to cheer Longy up with all the injuries in his team. It's going to happen. There's going to be more injuries this week and next week. It always happens at the end of the year where people think a few trades is enough for 5-6 weeks run home. Trust me, everyone's going to have 0 trades by next week. So, yeah, it's fun.
Mate, it's a good time. If you've got a few trades in the bank, you're in a good spot, though, because there are a lot of opportunities to talk about. We're going to go through a few things. Haas replacements, the regular buys. The pods section is must watch. There are some really good pods. And spoiler, I'm going to be buying one of those pods this week. So tossing out a few of them. Then we'll talk about cheapies and the hold or sell as well. Now, this week is brought to you by Tommy Talau, the legend.
He's back.
But you're looking at his, he's on. You're looking at his stats before, though.
Yeah.
Share some insights.
36 average over 70 minutes this year. That includes a 4 against the Panthers. But, still one of my favorite moments this year was the back-to-back 63 into a 75 against the Storm and Panthers. A couple of big games the last 3 weeks. He's kind of fallen out of our channel. We've got Keeney, who's become the new Talau. So, I thought in a week like this, it's time to bring us all a cheer with our boy Tommy.
Big Tommy Talau, what a legend. What a legend. And he ushers in a few sponsors. Other thing, too, if you want to get yourself a championship ring, a little perk that comes with it. And if you already got one, I'm going to give you this as well. If you get yourself a championship ring, email me a screenshot to daniel@thecasualathlete.com.au of you getting it, or just email me with the same email you used, and you will get yourself a team analysis that goes with that. So full breakdown of your team, looking at the head-to-head finals, fixture analysis there too, buy analysis, and a bit of strategy planning for that team. So check out the rings. We've got the link in the description, and I know a bunch of you guys, I sent 5 of them out this morning. So a bunch of them are going out. So don't miss out on these. They are going to sell out soon. Now, first up, Payne Haas is out. Really bad news for him. Obviously, it is a long-term injury, so that absolutely sucks for one of the best front rowers in the game. But there are a few options for your fantasy side to look at as replacements. So, Biz, I'll throw it to you first and tell me who you're thinking about on this list, off this list, as a replacement for Haas.
On this list, I'd probably like Koloamatangi, Tarpanay the most, just because Barnett, AFB, and Yo, I think, will miss the last week. But I'm personally going off this list. I'm looking at Cam McInnes, who isn't on our list, but I'll speak about him now. Back at hooker this week, could be hooker for 2 to 4 weeks, hopefully more towards the 4-week side. Played hooker once this year for a 58, and the last time he played a season of hooker was 2020, where he averaged about 75. Now we know he likes to tackle, he likes to run. Sharks won't rest anyone because they were coming first for a period of the year and they're sliding down rapidly. Especially with Hines gone, Trindle gone, they're going to need their captain on the field. So I think it's McInnes for me. How about you?
Well, McInnes, mate, that's a mad dog move. I'm pretty basic here. So I'm looking at Isaiah Yo. I don't have Isaiah Yo yet. Payne Haas out. It's Isaiah Yo and Payne Haas 1A, 1B. So for me, it's a pretty straightforward swap. And I like to look at him because there is that risk that he gets arrested in round 27, right? But that's just a risk. It's a rumor. He has had a few rests this year. He might not get that rest. It's not guaranteed. Whereas the next few guys on this list do get a rest 100%. So Mitch Barnett and AFB are both out in round 27. Paddy Carrigan, for example. We're going to talk about him in the buyers section, but he's out next week. A lot of these options, like Cotter, for example, as well, they do miss time guaranteed. So for Isaiah Yo, I'm willing to take that gamble at $775K. It's a good price, good option. 100K cheaper than Barnett, which is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yo is as close to a Haas as you can get. They've got a very similar average scoring profile, consistency, captaincy option. So I do love the Yo pick. I think if you've got a stacked middle rotation where you can afford to have one sit, I do like Koloamatangi because it's got the dual position as well. But if you I agree with your analysis that they're all guaranteed timeouts. Yo could still maybe play 40 minutes in the last week. So, Yo is definitely the best fantasy player of this list, guaranteed. So just evaluate the buyers for sure.
Yeah, Yo's that guy. Barnett, AFB. Both good shouts if you're a head-to-head player. I think too risky to buy for an overall coach at this stage. Tarpanay is one that's interesting. So I was having a look at Tarpanay. The numbers are really good when he gets 60-plus minutes. Obviously, we come into this week, Smithies has a bit of an injury cloud over him. Zach Hoskins out as well. So if Smithies was to be out for a longer period of time, which I don't think is going to be the case because he's been named, that could have made Tarpanay more interesting to me. But with the way they're currently set up, I view him more as a 50 to 54 minutes guy, which means a 55 average at best. It's just not high scoring enough for me to overlook someone like Yeo at about the same price.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tarpanay is one of the few players that's been in my team all year since round one. Actually, I don't know if I had him in round one. I think I brought him for the buys later, but it seems like he's been in my team forever. He's just been – I never look at his score because I know it's always like 55. It's consistently tier 2. But he has a big explosion in him. Like when I looked and he saw 76 this week, he kind of every 5-6 weeks will pop up for a big score, which will weigh out 1 or 2 random 40s. He's not the most exciting pick. I love owning him, but I'm definitely – he's probably the lowest on my list here.
Yeah. Round 1, mate. That's a good one to have.
I think I made that up. I think it was like round 5 or 6 I bought him, to be honest. I can't imagine why I would have bought Tarpanay round 1. I think I'm getting memory loss there.
That'd be pretty wild, man.
He's not really here nor there, so I doubt I had him round 1.
So I'm saying goodbye to a couple of guys from round 1 soon. Well, not a couple, just one of them. So I've had 2, Tedesco and Katoa, and Katoa is going to go this week for me. So
that was your pod that you loved and nurtured all year round, man. That was one of your best calls for sure. In a really tough edge spot this year.
I mean, he was going well. He was averaging sort of mid-50s, and it cooled off this last week or two. And he's been knocked out, but I'll remember him as a hero. I'll remember him as a legend through the buy rounds, try-scoring merchant. So he's a good shout. I'll throw in Koloamatangi as well. We talked about him a bit. It's worth noting that the minutes were a bit lower this week, so it was about 55 minutes. I also think, I don't know, I just worry about South Sydney players at this stage, right? Because they're falling out of finals contention. They got beaten pretty well by the Sharks last week without Nico Hines, without a few players. So I still look at them and I think if they're thinking ahead, then surely they want to see, Tallis Duncan at lock or, Koloamatangi back to edge with Jacob Host being out for 2 to 4 weeks. Like, are they going to trust Cheekam in that role long term? Like, there's just a lot of things that go wrong for Koloamatangi, and there's no reason to blast him for 80 minutes and 300 meters in the middle every week. So there's enough there to make me think 800K, he's probably going to burn you. I think if you haven't gotten him already, steer clear. And if you have him in your team, congratulations. He's been absolutely fantastic. You stick with him. But at this stage, it's too late.
Yeah, it's hard to dispute. But the only thing I'd say is I feel like Koloamatangi is their future at the middle. But I think more at prop because you're right. I think Murray and Tallis Duncan are those guys that would won in the middle for long periods of the game. But I just don't love South Sydney's prop rotation. So I think Koloamatangi is kind of going to fit into that Haas style big bopper versus like fit forward. He'll play 60 to 70 minutes at prop every week. I think that's what they'll do for next year. And I think that'll be his role if they put Murray or Duncan back in the middle. So, but he is expensive at his price. But I just think, especially for me, these dual positions are coming in very, very handy at the moment. So I do love that.
Yeah, good shout, Koloamatangi, beast mode. Now, the buyers, we're going to go through these guys pretty quickly before we jump into the pods because the pods are more fun. There's some good pods on that list. So,
I mean, we've got Cleary on this list 3 weeks in a row. I don't think there's anything more to be said.
I mean, he was 100K cheaper the first time, but Cleary, bang. If you don't have him,
this week.
Yeah, mate, he's a good shout. Although he has been sent off against Parramatta before and scored like 10 points.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So again, Jamal Fogarty, quiet game last week. He is back to partnering Ethan Strange in the halves, and partnering Ethan Strange is how you average 50 plus. So he's going to be back to normal. He's a great option to target. If you have 731K to spend, go get him. Kellen Ponga up against the Tigers this week. He went a bit quieter last week, so...
I called it. I said 26, I think. We did a bit of a game. What do you think you'll score? You said 51. Put that up somewhere. I won that
one. Bravo. You got it. Also, one person guessed the top scorer last week, and I was nervous for a moment it was going to be what's his name from the Titans, Jojo Fifita.
Yeah.
Because he was second. Like no one was going to guess that, but one guy guessed Damien Cook.
Yeah, nice.
And I'll get the name later. But yeah. So Ponga, I reckon against Tigers this week, surely a big game.
Yeah, I'm saying 80 plus for sure.
80 plus.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not for sure because you just never know with the Knights and Ponga. But I think he's going 80 plus.
I really hate the halves pairing. Like,
isn't that better for him? You have to do more. I also hate the halves pairing.
I mean, last week they weren't feeding him as much ball as they should. Like they were sort of both trying to like gamble, and Crossland were like, "No, we're going to save this against Penrith."
Yeah, we're disgusting. Crossland and gamble. Ugh.
Just give him the ball, man. Give him the ball. I reckon this week, surely they just chuck it out to him and go, "You know what, Ponga, do your Ponga stuff." Here's the question though: you said 80 plus, captaining Ponga over Cleary?
No, because Cleary's got the Eels. He's going 100 plus. Like, if Cleary was playing Storm, maybe. I thought he did have the Storm this week. I was surprised to see. For some reason, I thought he had the Storm, but no, I'm definitely Cleary for sure.
Eels are at the same caliber.
He's got the Storm next week. Yeah, true, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The Eels and Storm, they're about the same mentality.
I mean, the Eels beat the Warriors in New Zealand last week, and the Storm lost to the Dragons. So
that's true. So
form, very recent form. Paddy Carrigan, 689k, averages about 62 without Haas. Has a bye next week.
Yeah, absolute beast. He would have been the guy I would have loved to take out Haas for, but the bye next week, probably can't. Like, how many more games is he going to give you? Like, a few more. Broncos falling out of contention. He'll probably get his minutes. Like, they don't need him to play 70, 80 minutes if they're out of contention in the back end of the year, right? He's their talisman.
Yep.
They'll lower his minutes, I think. So I'll probably avoid myself.
They're fully out. They're done.
Are they done now, officially mathematically?
Yeah, they're cooked. It's over.
All right, I'm not touching Carrigan. I don't think he's playing big minutes the last week or two. So
he played big minutes last week, but yeah, in general, I agree with you. He might. I reckon for the next 3 games.
For 3 games, yeah. Just not the last week, I think.
Yeah. So it's not worth the gamble. Ola Kawatu, 647k.
Yeah, that's really interesting one. I like that. Yeah.
Well, with Gus Crichton being dodgy and on a bye this week, right? Like, don't sell Gus for Ola Kawatu, but I don't have Gus, and Gus is not that, in your words, talisman sort of buy that he was looking like a few weeks ago. So Ola Kawatu, interesting option, well rested from some weeks off. Has a bit of fight in him, we've seen. Could be an option.
I do like it because I think Manly are kind of, I wouldn't say getting hot, but they're looking a bit better towards the back end. Pot option, cheap, and you're right with like they can't rest him, right? Yeah. Like Ola Kawatu's come off the bye. Gus is the thing with Gus is he can pop out like a 70, 80, 90 pretty quick. But that run of form he had early in the season when he came back to the starting team where he's popping out like 70 plus every week, like that's just rare. That kind of run doesn't happen all season. So Ola Kawatu could be the next guy that goes on the run at 647k, especially for cash run. I don't mind it at all.
Do you want some fixtures? Raiders, Warriors, Tigers, Doggies, Sharks.
That's a great run. You could score a try in every game there.
Yeah, absolutely. So good shout there. And then let's keep rolling through because the pods are where it gets really fun. Quick shout out though to TBC Live. It's a game that I've co-created actually. So if you're out of trades, I've got the link in the description. Go try TBC Live. It only is live during the games, right? So it's more of you're sitting on the couch watching the game and you want to be involved kind of experience. So jump in there, you make predictions, vote on other people's predictions. And if you make a prediction that's absolutely crazy, then you'll shoot right up to the leaderboard. Top of the leaderboard anyway. So poorly explained by me, but it's a great game. It speaks for itself.
I still haven't figured out what it is after that, but yeah. Go try it out. Yeah, so you can figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. All right, pods. This is so fun. So a lot of people need a wing fullback this week. A lot of people had Dom Young, Joey Manu, James Tedesco, whoever else. They're sitting with KO Weeks, they're studying Jai Gray, all that sort of stuff. So Keeney, Trebojevic, and Lomax are sitting in those top 3 spots for the pods. All 3 are pods this week. Biz, I'm going to throw it to you. Do you want to talk about one of these guys over the others?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about Lomax because I think, like I said, I'm dual position guy at this time of year. I think Lomax is a 50 average guy. He has a good run, set of fixtures home. Dragons are definitely in contention for the 8. They're going to keep pumping. They just come off a big win against the Storm. He could score quite a few tries. I think a 50 average dual position player at 655k that covers centre and fullback is a great shout. I know you like Lomax, but you like Keeney even more.
I do. I was quickly hit on Lomax's fixtures as well, because at this time of year, it's super important. Doggies, Titans, Sharks, Eels, and Raiders. So it's a bunch of competitive games he's going to have there, some shootouts, and then 18 tries versus Parramatta.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Keeney, because Keeney I'm pumped about. So ever since there's been a bit of word out that AJ Brimson's going to come back at centre and Keeney is owning that fullback spot now. Now, to me, that is music to my ears, because he's been an absolute monster lately. We were talking about it before. He's been scoring 80+ without tries, which is unheard of for fullbacks. So I look at him at 657k, and I see a pod of pods who is ready to pay me back after the faith I showed at the start of the year, and after the faith that got me teased as recently as the live this afternoon. In fact, I had a few Keeney owners on there saying, "Don't buy him, Longy. You have the Keeney curse. You can't take us down with you." Well, I'm here to say I'm probably going to be taking you down with me.
Well, it's funny because you're not even the worst of the Keeney curse. Like, I had Keeney at the start. I think we sold him the same week, but our mate Christian, I think he had Keeney till about round 11. Sold him in round 11. He came back in round 12 and has been like probably the best fullback since. That is the worst of the Keeney curse. I don't know if Sippy's watching this, but shout out to Sippy.
We should get Sippy to buy him again as well.
Yeah. Oh, God. That is
uncursed.
Yeah, exactly.
But seriously, man, his scoring has been wild. Like the fixtures as well, pretty good. So Sharks will be a bit of a shootout. Dragons should be a bit of a shootout. The Roosters don't defend, so that'll be a bit of a shootout. Knights, bit of a shootout. And then Panthers, and you mentioned it before when we were talking, probably with some guys rested.
So again, I reckon that'll be like the Panthers, maybe not even B team, but C team. So that's a good week to play the Panthers.
And the Titans are like 1 win out of the 8 as well. Yeah. So they're going to be turning up to that game probably thinking, if we win this by enough, we get into the finals. Hopefully they're thinking like that. And that could be massive. So I like the look of Keeney a lot. And yeah, look, we just have to look past those early scores.
Yeah, I think, look, maybe he was just nervous. He does have like a 57 reserve grade average, so it's not out of the blue. That's why we had him at the start. I think Titans have started the year really poor, but now they're catching on. Like the new coaching systems come through, they're gelling. They've worked out some, Campbell at 6 is going really well. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Keeney is an absolute beast to end the year, and I also wouldn't be surprised if Longy buys him and he goes back to 15 average.
Or gets dropped. Yeah. Turbo, 659k. So these guys are all basically the same price. We talked about all Kawatu's fixtures being good. They're the same fixtures for Turbo. Could you make a case for him?
Turbo is the biggest tease in fantasy. He's had that one crazy year.
Yep.
Where everyone thinks he's like a tier 1 fullback. Every other season, he hasn't given us that. And he gets these big scores in like he'll score a 90 and 100 like a couple of times, and he'll go back to 30 with 2 tries. I don't love Trbojevic. I would rather Lomax for the dual position and the safety, and I'd rather Keeney for the explosive upside in the youth. But Turbo could also get on a hot run to end the year. He's playing fullback. Kohler's not due back to play fullback, I think, for the rest. Like, even if he comes back, I don't think he's coming back to fullback. He's looking good. I just think that he's got too many 20s and 30s in him, even with a try that just balances him out. So he's the lowest on my list for sure. But he could pay off. We've seen what he can do, but you could say that about a lot of players. So
he's got to play transcendent footy, 100%. He's cracked 70 once in 14 games this year. Keeney has cracked 70 4 of his last 8.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just throwing it in there.
Yeah. I think you just got to, like, with Turbo, every year people look at him. I think you just got to forget that one crazy year. Like, that just wasn't normal. That was flash to the pan stuff. Like, I know he's kind of, like, Turbo 91 against the Titans, and then 32 against the Roosters. And you're just going to see more of that. Like, he's going to get 40s, he's going to get 30s, balancing out like the 70, 80s. Like, to get a 90 plus, he has to go pretty crazy.
The only case you could make here is you look at him and you go, you know what? Turbo is going to hit that Dally M form and Manly going to be supernova. Like, that's... And if you think that, then don't listen to us. Because if that happens, then he will score well.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
That is the only way that he scores well. Like, Turbo can't play average footy and score well. Whereas Keeney and Lomax can have games that are neither here or there and pop off some pretty big scores.
Yeah, especially Lomax. Like, he's just... Like, out of the three, Lomax is the safest because he's got the highest work rate. He's in the crappiest position on wing, but he runs the ball a lot. He goal kicks. He loves offloading. He's a great finisher. Keeney is the thing I like about Keeney is you're picking up a young guy on the way up, whereas Turbo you're picking up an older guy who is based on his past. Whereas Keeney and Lomax you're getting on their present form. So I like that the most.
A big name. Now talking about some past and some big names: Shaun Johnson, Cam Munster, at prices that we've never seen before. SJ came back, had 3 try assists in a loss to, and you can't blame him because he was playing against a very good side in Parramatta. But, 3 try assists in that game, 47 points. Just announced his retirement. So, I don't know, maybe teams will let him score tries. Like, I can't make much of a case for Shaun Johnson personally. Do you have anything here?
I love Shaun Johnson. I had him this year. I had him last year. I think that probably done for him. I think the Warriors just are nowhere near as good as they were last year. And the saddest thing to see is that he shared kicking pretty 50-50 with Chanel Harris-Tavita last week. It was like 250 kick meters each. And Shaun Johnson's really solid scoring has come off the back of bulk kick meters, like 600 each week, like Fogarty's doing. So if that's what they're going to do for the rest of the season with Warriors not in the best of form, I think there'll be a bit of a farewell tour for Shaun Johnson. Like, he might get some electric plays that they'll try and set up for him, but no, I don't love it. And then does have the bye last week as well. Yeah. So definitely skipping that one.
Well, he was our fantasy player of the year last year. So we love him, but no go for this year. Cam Munster is more interesting. So 589K is a crazy price. And if you were sitting at a point where you're looking at your roster and you've got 600K to spend on your second player, Munster probably is one of those options you could look at. And I say that number because Dylan Brown is about 637K. I believe that's his price. And he is a much better option than Munster for the run home. So if you're sort of below that Dylan Brown tier and you need someone at this price, there aren't that many guys around this price range that are super interesting. And Munster's a guy who, even this year, he has scored 90 points in games. He's got some decent fixtures coming up. He is pretty much fixture proof. And he had 177 run meters last week. So for me, the intent is all there. Kick meters weren't great, but the run meters say to me that he's going to come out and give himself a shot at some big fantasy scores.
Yeah, I mean, I actually probably put him in the same category as Dylan Brown, just because Dylan Brown didn't, like this time around with Moses gone, he's not hogging the kick meters. Like, it was actually predominantly RC doing the kicking. Munster actually averages 51.4 this year, playing 80 minutes. So it's not bad at all. The only thing with Munster is he does have Rabbits, which is a good fixture. He's got Penrith, but he's the type of guy who would step up against the Penrith team.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of Rabbits, his 90 this year was against the Rabbits in round 8. So, and then he's got the Dolphins, who are a bit shaky defensively, same with Cowboys and Broncos. The only thing is, you probably don't want to kick as much with his groin issues. And obviously, when you're kicking the ball long and you're punting, it does impact your groin. And with Storm pretty much locks on the minor premiers for this year, they could rest him in the last week. In fact, I'd say it's almost guaranteed. So I think if you've got 600K and you need a half, I honestly would probably do it. But just know that he's probably not going to play the last week. And because he doesn't have the kick meter base, he might get a couple of 30s. But I do think he's got 1 or 2 big scores in him left this year, especially, like you said, if he's running at 177 meters, it gives you ample chances for offloads, assists, line breaks, etc.
Like you said, he's matchup proof, right? So I'll just throw something in here. Guys that are around him at that price point, and the reason why he's such value: AJ Brimson, Isaiah Katoa, Luke Brooks,
Hell no.
Cody Walker,
Ugh.
Kieran Foran. He's not far above like KO Weeks, right? Like Adam Reynolds is actually 541k, by the way. And if the Broncos were in contention, I'd be talking about him right now, but they're not. So there's nothing to do there. But yeah, Cam Munster, you could just see it, right? Like it's one of those ones where it's probably going to burn you. He'll miss a few games, whatever. But there is that 10% chance where he's just the best half in fantasy for the run home. And it's in the realm of possibilities. So if you want to take that shot, if you're sitting in 8th in your head-to-head league and your team is not as good as everyone else's and you have to do something, I just reckon it's hot. And I know you like it too. So
I'm honestly like my other team, which is like absolute crap. I might do it, to be honest. Like, just whatever. Nothing to lose.
Big dog moves. Big dog moves. I want to do it too. No, can't go past Keeney. All right, cheapies. This is pretty straightforward. So I'll talk about Isaac Liu first. I've just chucked him in here because he's 230k. Pretty good job security. Covers the middle position, and a lot of people now don't have as much depth at middle. So I think having a guy who comes out and scores 20 every week in the middle is not the worst thing. So if you want to cash out, don't mind him.
Yeah, I think he's just someone if you need 15 points, 20 points, you can give it to you, and he's like a base price cashy where you can use the cash to upgrade elsewhere. Same with Vatabe. Like it's just a cash out, really. You're not banking on a guy making 300k for you at this point of the year. Like you're not going to really find guys like Starling at this point of the year too often. So Vatabe, Karapani, just guys who probably have decent-ish job security, not the best, but will give you a lot of cash to play with. Really same with Stone Street as well. And Mamazoulis is the same. I assume that the case for Mamazoulis and Longy add anything if I've missed it, is that with Rabbitohs falling out of contention, Cook leaving, is that they'll start playing Mamazoulis bigger minutes to end the year.
So Mamazoulis, like we were talking about NFL before, he's a handcuff, right? So if you have Cook and you need a cash out, get Mamazoulis, and then everything I'm talking about with that fade and all that just isn't an issue for you anymore, because if Mamazoulis takes most of the minutes, then you got him too, right? So I reckon he's only an option for Cook owners. If you're not a Cook owner, then he's not interesting. I just will talk about Karapani for a sec, because I actually reckon Karapani's got a bit of go about him. And he's scored some decent numbers. They've got, like, the Broncos are under strength, but they still have good playmakers.
Yeah.
So I looked last week, and, he's taken Corey Oates' spot. Oates is on the extended bench, so it looks like he's taken that spot permanently. Oates had a few shots at tries where he just didn't have the legs to get there. Karapani has that sort of speed. So I reckon there's a world where Karapani he's got the bye next week, but is vaguely playable for you on the run home, or at least loopholeable for the run home. Because the Broncos do have some games they can win. I don't know. If I was buying someone from this list, which I'm not in the position to, I would be going for Karapani over the others by a good margin.
I'd probably go equal with Isaac Liu, just because I think he's safe. He'll keep the spot. Yeah, his scoring will be trash, but I'm not getting him for the scoring. I'm just getting him for like whatever I can muster when I need him. But I agree with you, Karapani could be out of this list, he could be the best scorer for sure. Because you're right, Broncos having a bad season, but they still got Reynolds, they still got Walsh, they got a ton of good players. So I don't mind it.
He'll score some tries, 100%. Reminder, guys, if you do get a championship ring, link in the description, shoot me a screenshot of that and I'll have a look at your team, get you ready for head-to-head finals, and download TBC Live. It's too late in the evening for me to go hard on these things, so hold or sell.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Look, I mean, I feel like we could rush through these. Like Galvin, he's still named. I think you just have to hold him. Like I said, like you're gonna have bigger fires to put out. Like for example, I had 2 trades left. After I trade out Haas, it's gonna be 1 trade. There's no way I can trade a guy like Galvin now. So, are you in a different boat?
Oh, I sold him last week.
You sold, yeah. I remember you saying you were off Galvin, and I honestly think, he's gonna probably cop some rest at the back end of the year. And his scoring is hit or miss, but I've told him now.
It's a good matchup this week, right? So I'm with you. Holden this week, Newcastle, good matchup. Should be a bit of a shootout, so he's pretty safe. Max Plath, he's a hold, 100%. I was getting asked by a few people, should you buy Max Plath this week? I wouldn't do it. Like, he's been very attacking stat reliant, and I don't trust him to be an attacking stat producer consistently. So For me, hold on to him. Don't sell him. Easy going. Bo Firma, he's missing this week due to like a kidney shot or something, like kidney pain.
Yeah, I would hold him.
Yeah.
He's like probably one of the best players available at centre, and he's a keeper at that spot with dual position. I think anything less than 3 weeks at this stage of the season, if you only got 1 or 2 trades left, you just hold. I feel. I don't know how people keep the same way, unless it's like a long-term injury where they're missing like the rest of the season. I'm pretty much holding most players.
Then Eli Katoa, pretty easy sell for me. I still don't have confirmation on how long he's out for.
Yeah,
but he went off with that knee. He got it strapped up. He came back on. They'll probably linger. They have a couple of guys that can fill in at that spot. The form was already starting to waver. And I can go Eli Katoa to Keeney, who is the best player in fantasy right now. So, by the way, I'm joking, just in case anyone takes that. But yeah, no, for Eli Katoa, I'm pretty happy to sell him for my team. But if you're really low on trades, then you don't have to sell him. And the other thing is, if you've got Eli Katoa in your team, and let's say you only have 1 trade left and you didn't have Haas or something like that, right? Look at who you'd be buying and think about, is that player going to make a difference compared to the last guy on my bench? So if the last guy on your bench is going to be Samuel Fainu or Kale Iro, Fainu is like a 40 guy. Kale Iro is like a 45 to 50 guy. Katoa, if you're trading him out for another 600K guy, they're not going to be better than these other players. So you might as well just hold the trade, do the loophole, and save that trade for when someone meaningful gets injured, because then you can trade up to the top player and that's available, basically. So it depends on your team, but I'd say for a lot of teams, he's going to be a sell.
Yeah, I think you can trade him if you're going up to like a really star-studded player like a Yo, or you're trading him to a position you actually need. Like, for example, we've been in 2 fullbacks this week. You need a third one. A Katoa to a, Keeney Lomax or a Turbo is not a bad trade. And then Kai Pearce-Ball, he was having a really good early season, mid-season, but he's kind of fallen off a bit. I think he's pretty much the same as Katoa. He's a guy that you probably don't want, but given all the injuries this year and trade burning, that unless you're trading him to someone really good, it's the exact same messaging as Katoa, just 1 tier below.
The price too, 546K.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to get for that, right? Like, 23 points in 80 minutes last week, though, with 26 tackles.
It's pretty crazy because he was actually pretty solid to start the year, right? Like, he was a pretty consistent 50 guy when he was playing 80 minutes. Not quite sure. It feels like really, if you look at his meters for the year, they've really dropped off. It was 100 to 150 in the first half of the season, and now he hasn't cracked 100 meters since round 10. So I don't know, and he's played 80 minutes every game since then. So I don't know if it's a game plan change to give him less ball, which is ridiculous to me because he was actually really damaging with ball in hand. But like, I'm just looking at his stats for the year, and 91 meters, 93, 82, 87, 55, 66, 60, 71, 82. And then prior to that, it was 141, 81, 153, 135, 106, 145. I'm not really sure what's happened there, but I think it's just poor game plan management for the Knights.
Yep.
I don't know if you're a Knights fan and you have some insight into that, leave it in the comments below because I don't really understand it myself.
Yeah. And those meters too, like it's like 140 meters versus 90 meters. That's 5 points. But it's not just 5 points. It's also 50 meters worth of offloads, tackle breaks, a bunch of other opportunities that comes with that as well. So yeah, he's a guy that I'll probably buy next year.
That's not bad. It could be your guitar for next year.
Mate, 100%.
Katoa showed similar signs last year where he was kind of up and down. If Knights look better next year, KPP maybe, yeah.
What's the average? Because he's had a few games where he hasn't played full games.
I think his average over 70 minutes is 46 still.
It's a 44.9 for the year as well. Like, that's not as low as I was hoping, to be honest. I don't know if he averages enough to justify that.
I feel like you need him to be priced in the low 40s because he'll maybe average 50 for you.
Yeah. Whereas if you give yourself 5 points of value, it's kind of average. If Newcastle came out next year, maybe with a better set of halves, I'd consider it. But
they need a huge overhaul, right? Like they just don't have the halves.
Yeah, no go for them. Anyone else that you're looking at selling this week?
Nah, I just only have 2 trades left, so like it's Haas and hold everyone else. My boy Carl Lawton is my 4th reserve on the bench. So
Lawton.
He's not that bad actually. He's kind of averages like mid to late 40s when he's playing edge, and he's holding that spot over Burbo. So I haven't really seen a need to trade him. And I've got Isaac Tunga, who's actually not bad. I had to play him this week, and he got 51. Got to play him again this week with Teddy out. And he's got the Eels, so he'll score 130. So, yeah, I'm safe.
Tunga got robbed of a try in that game as well. Like, dead set scored a try, and they took it off him. So that would have been 60 points for him.
Yeah. No, I think he'll go. I still remember him running around Kalmatuolangi this year for like 29 breaks for like 95 points. Honestly, it could be similar this week. So
who's he up against? Not Penasini. He's up against who's our other center? Oh my god,
I'm trying to remember. It's Jake Tunga, Sean Russell, Penasini. I honestly blanking just because I don't even want to think about the Eels right now.
I'm losing it as well. Who's that center? I can name the rest of the team.
I center must be that bad. No, it's
it's
Blaze. We tried to forget it. No, it's Blaze. We tried to forget it because he's leaving.
He's dead to us.
He's actually so dead to us that we've forgotten he's playing center. I've already wiped him out. I'm already thinking of the 2025 team list.
That's crazy that you're like, yeah, Jake Tungo, Sean Russell. You're forgetting our boom rookie, Blaze Talangi, the one reason we've had to watch this year.
I don't know. I honestly have only been thinking about 2025 squad, so
it's actually a shared delusion as well. Like, we must talk too much about Parramatta.
Yeah, it's first funny that we both all back five know the four except Blaze.
You go through the rest. Like, I'm not blanking on Wiramu Greg or like
exactly,
Luca Moretti or any of these guys. Like, it's just Blaze. Joey Lussick, like, he's in my head.
So funny.
That's quality. All right, good sesh though, man. Last shout too, guys. Also, just drop your guess in for top scorer of the week. There was a bunch of people dropping in the captain Isaac Tungo last week too. So put a decimal point in your guess for the top scorer if you're still here. There's actually quite a few of you I've found out, which is really cool.
I respect that. I always give those a like for all those people doing that. Hey, it's only 37 minutes this week, so it's pretty short for us.
Hey, tidy as. We'll do Pimp My Team as well tomorrow. So if you do have some head-to-head questions, make sure you jump on for that one. It'll be a good one. That's live at 6 p.m. tomorrow, so it'll be a cracker. That is buy, hold, sell. Done and dusted. Ponga and Keeney on the picture. My two wing fullbacks for this week. So
that's so exciting. What I love about that is it's fun combo to watch as well. So yeah, looking forward. Good luck, mate, and hopefully it's a good week for both of us.
Good luck to you too, mate, and thank you everyone for watching. We love having you on. It's been a great year. Next year's going to be better. Make sure you like, subscribe in particular, because next year when we start doing content in January, February, you want to be here first before your league mates. We'll see you there.